Hello and welcome to Module 3, Chapter 4.9. In this presentation, we'll explore what PLA-MNH group facilitators need to do after facilitating meeting 11 of the PLA-MNH group action cycle. This presentation is split into 4 sections. First, we'll consider the responsibilities, knowledge and skills that PLA-MNH group facilitators need to facilitate the PLA-MNH group action cycle. Next, we'll explore what PLA-MNH group facilitators need to do after facilitating meeting 11. Then we'll cover what to do next after reviewing this presentation. And finally, we'll also give you guidance on how to get answers to any questions you might have. Let's turn our attention first to the PLA-MNH group facilitator responsibilities, knowledge and skills we'll be focusing on in Chapter 4.9. As presented previously, PLA-MNH group facilitators are critical and central to the success of the PLA-MNH group approach. They are the members of the program implementation team most directly involved in supporting PLA-MNH groups to achieve their objectives. To do this, PLA-MNH group facilitators have 4 key responsibilities: facilitating the PLA-MNH group action cycle, reporting on PLA-MNH group progress, linking PLA-MNH groups, and building the capacity of PLA-MNH group committees. In Chapter 4.9, we are concerned specifically with building the capacities in relation to the first responsibility, facilitating the PLA-MNH group action cycle. There are 3 knowledge and skill areas that are critical for PLA-MNH group facilitators to deliver this responsibility effectively. They need maternal and newborn health knowledge, facilitation skills, and knowledge of the PLA-MNH group action cycle. In Chapter 4.9, we will specifically explore knowledge in relation to the PLA-MNH group action cycle. So let's look now at the role of the facilitator after meeting 11. As you'll remember, the PLA-MNH group action cycle consists of 4 phases. Phase 1, identifying problems. Phase 2, identifying solutions. Phase 3, implementing solutions. And Phase 4, evaluating solutions. The PLA-MNH group action cycle has 11 meetings across these 4 phases. After meeting 11, the PLA-MNH group facilitator is responsible for strengthening the group and supporting it to act on the plans it made in meeting 10. In meeting 10, the group will have reached a consensus about how they want to move forwards. Specifically, they will have decided whether they want to continue meeting or they want to disband. Let's look at each of these decisions in turn, starting with the groups that have decided to continue meeting. If the group has decided to continue meeting, in meeting 10, they will have decided where they think it would be best to start the next cycle of meetings. Should they start in Phase 1, so they can identify new problems? They will likely have made this decision if they feel they have made good progress in addressing the problems identified in the previous cycle. They might have decided to start in Phase 2, so they can develop new solutions for the same problems. They will likely have made this decision if they feel that the problems identified in the previous cycle have not been addressed because the solutions are not working. Or they might decide to start in Phase 3, where they want to continue to implement the same solutions. They will likely have made this decision if they feel that the problems identified in the previous cycle have not been addressed because the solutions needed more time or needed refining to be effective. If the groups decided to start the meetings in Phase 1, then the facilitator should start with meeting 2 and guide the group from there. Through the whole cycle up to meeting 11. Since the group will have greater capacity, having already completed one PLA-MNH group cycle, they may be able to meet more frequently. At the same time, the facilitator should encourage the group to follow the solution action plans that they developed in meeting 9. These plans may involve continuing to implement some or all of the same solutions, continuing to implement revised versions of some or all of the solutions, or stopping implementation of some or all of their solutions. If the group's decided to start meeting in phase 2, then the facilitator should start with meeting 4 and guide the group from there through the whole cycle up to meeting 11. Again, since the groups will have greater capacity, having already completed one PLA-MNH group cycle, they may be able to meet more frequently. At the same time, the facilitator should encourage the group to follow the solution action plans that they developed in meeting 9. These may involve continuing to implement some or all of the same solutions, continuing to implement revised versions of some or all of the solutions, or stopping implementation of some or all of the solutions. If the groups decided to start meeting in phase 3, then the facilitator should start with meeting 7 and guide the group from there through the whole cycle up to meeting 11. Again, since the groups will have greater capacity, having already completed one PLA-MNH group cycle, they may be able to meet more frequently. At the same time, the facilitator should encourage the group to follow the solution action plans that they developed in meeting 9. Again, these could involve continuing to implement some or all of the same solutions, continuing to implement revised versions of some or all of the solutions, or stopping implementation of some or all of the solutions. If the group decided to continue meeting in meeting 10, they have also decided how they are planning to reorganize and strengthen the group. They may have decided that participation in their group needs to be strengthened, or that their committees and leadership need to be strengthened, or that their maternal and newborn health knowledge needs to be strengthened, or that their links with others need to be strengthened. Let's look at each of these in turn. If the group identified that participation needs to be strengthened, then there are 3 time points at which the facilitator can help. Before the day of the meetings, for example, one common action is to make announcements at village meetings, activities and events, and through community leaders to encourage those concerned about maternal and newborn health to join the groups. Or actions on the day of the meetings. For example, one common action is for the facilitator and committee members to conduct door-to-door visits on the day of each meeting, prioritising households with women and girls of reproductive age who are not members of the group. And another set of actions can happen during meetings. For example, one common action is to celebrate the achievements of the group, however small, as this can motivate people to continue attending meetings. You can refer to Chapter 4.4 for more ideas on how facilitators can support improved participation in groups. If the group identified that their committee and leadership needs to be strengthened, then the facilitator may need to support new elections so the committee can be refreshed. Or the facilitator may need to provide leadership training to the committee. You can refer to Chapter 4.5, specifically Meeting 1 of the cycle, for more ideas on how facilitators can re-elect the committee. And you can refer to Chapter 7 for more ideas on how facilitators can provide leadership training to the committee members. If the group identified that their maternal and newborn health knowledge needs to be strengthened, then the facilitator may need to provide health education. You can refer to Chapter 4.2 for some ideas on how facilitators can provide maternal and newborn health education using their picture cards. Some facilitators also approach health workers, either based in the community or at nearby health facilities, and invite them to deliver health education sessions on issues of importance to the group. Finally, if the group identified that they need to strengthen their links with others, then the facilitator may need to support the group to map potential partner individuals, groups and organisations in the area who are also concerned about maternal and newborn health. You can refer to Chapter 6 for more ideas on how facilitators can support groups to link with others. Now let's turn our attention to those groups that reached a consensus to disband. Groups may decide to disband for a number of reasons. Most commonly, these include either feeling that they had achieved their objectives and thus that maternal and newborn health was no longer a priority concern, or feeling that they had not achieved their objectives, so the members wanted to look at other ways to improve maternal and newborn health. In either case, the group will have formally advised their facilitator that they want to disband in meeting 10. The facilitator will have accepted their decision and will have advised them that they can reform at any time. To make this easier, the facilitator should endeavour to keep in contact with the chairperson and committee members to continuously gauge their interest in reforming and acting on this decision as necessary. So, what should you do now that you've reviewed this presentation? First, we recommend that you update the Module 3 progress tracker. And second, we encourage you to do exercise 4.9.1 to reinforce your learning. Having reviewed this presentation, you may now have some questions. If so, please don't hesitate to contact us by email or phone. One of the team will be happy to help. Enjoy the course!